What I was debating on doing was doing a fucking clip from my next music review I wanted to do, the one that Evan's helping me with. But I'm waiting till Monday. He still hasn't sent me those clips I need from him yet for his part of the video.
Okay.
And if he doesn't send it by like Monday night, I'll probably just do it without him. But yeah. How do we want to start this here? Because I have not done a podcast in forever. I think the last one was like 4 years ago. No, wait. When I first moved into the place with all the Durkas, and I was renting a room, I did a weekly podcast where I just talked about what I did all week, but that's not what this is, so that's different. I'm talking about two movies. We're talking about two movies. We only watched one of the two movies because the other one I was supposed to do a video with DJ, but he didn't respond. So I don't expect you to be super involved in that second one because the last time we watched it was like July.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure you'll be able to like, oh, I remember that, and then make some stupid jokes. But anyway, first movie, Spider-Man 3, the most based movie ever made because my hero Spider-Man does his most relatable act and beats his wife. Yeah. What did you think of it?
It was okay. I had never seen it before, so like, I wasn't expecting much, but...
I thought you said you'd seen it before.
I've never seen the first Spider-Man.
No, I'm talking about the third one.
I've seen the third one with Venom.
Yeah. I already did my video on the first and second one.
I like it, but Venom wasn't very scary, and I don't like the Venom voice.
I put that in my notes that I didn't like the actor that played Venom.
I don't like the Venom voice because I think the actual Venom movies have a better actual like descript of an alien symbiote.
It's funny. Yeah, it's funny.
It makes Venom actually seem more of a super villain and not just this virus thing that kind of creeps people out.
It's so weird because the Venom movies did a lot of things like not accurately. Like they took Spider-Man out entirely and didn't give him the big white spider on his chest, but yet I think like almost every character in those movies was perfectly cast. And I think like the voice and the designs were good. Only one I didn't really like was Carnage, I think, because he doesn't have a deep voice. He has like a Joker sounding voice.
I liked Carnage. See, that's something we disagree on.
Yeah, well, Carnage in the movie is completely different. I really like the
design of Carnage in the movie because it's dope. It's literally, it opens a whole new reality for how many different kinds of symbiotes there really are out there.
Well, it's weird.
And that makes it kind of like...
I'll show you here. This is what he looks like in the comics.
Yeah, see, I don't like that.
I like it a lot more than the movie version, personally.
See, I like the movie version.
And I don't like the deep voice because he's supposed to basically be the Joker, but like Venom and the Joker put together. So I didn't think that was super accurate, but pretty much everything else was. I thought Sandman was pretty perfect because, I mean, he's kind of a boring villain. Like, I don't... When you're like, if I was writing a Spider-Man movie, if I was like, okay, we need to make a villain for this movie, I don't think the first thought of my head would go, I'm gonna do the guy made of sand. I just don't. I feel like there's a lot more interesting villains you could do in a Spider-Man movie, and it's kind of funny that we got Sandman before we got Carnage in a movie. We got Sandman before we got Morbius. We got Sandman. Oh my God, it's Morbin time. No, we got Sandman before we got like a lot of really good villains, and I think that's weird. But I still think with what they could do with a character like that, they did it relatively well. Instead of making him just a robber like he is in the books, he's stealing money for his sick daughter, which I understand and I relate to, because I also would commit crime for our daughter if she was sick, or even if she just asked me to. Like if she was getting bullied, I would just like, I don't know, shoot up the school. Yeah, I think that he was pretty good. It's funny because he's the only villain in the whole series that survives. Every other one fucking dies because Green Goblin gets fucking stabbed in the balls. He just gets just a glider right to the balls. I wonder if they wrote that in the script. If they were like, and he gets the glider right in the balls. And then, there was the Doc Ock, he jumps in the sun, and Venom
he falls into the sun. He doesn't jump into the sun.
That's right. And then Venom gets,
he crushes the platform on top of himself, and he just, kind of goes into the sun.
That's true. And then there's fucking Harry, and he gets stabbed with his glider like his dumb dad. But this time it wasn't in the balls, so, what's the even point? They should have had him get stabbed in the balls. They should have had him just be jumping and had Venom just stab him right in the balls.
Okay.
And then he could have died like his dad. Like his dumb dad. Speaking of, I guess, I don't really like Harry's stupid fucking snowboard fucking looking costume. What was that goofy costume? Yes, the Green Goblin's son is the new Goblin, but he doesn't look anything like a goblin. He's just a guy. As kind of, when there's so many things they could have done with him too. Like I said, there's so many fucking different versions of the Goblin. There's the Green Goblin, the Red Goblin, the Hobgoblin. I don't know what that means. What is a Hobgoblin? I want to look that up. Because I'm is that based on something? I never understood. I always thought he was like a jack-o'-lantern, but then there's a jack-o'-lantern goblin. Oh, the Hobgoblin is He's just looks like a goblin. I don't know. That's weird. Yeah, but I still think they didn't have to make him the Hobgoblin, but they could have done something. They should have. It's weird. There's worlds where Harry becomes Venom. If they really wanted to put Venom in this movie, instead of doing that shitty casting, they could have made Harry Venom, and then it would have all lined up fucking. It would have been that. That's what they should have fucking done. That would have been so beautiful, right? Not beautiful, but so well written, so put together, right? He's stronger than the Green Goblin, and he's. And it's the mix of Harry hating Peter because of, you stabbed your dad in the balls, and the symbiote hating Peter for not wanting to wear it. It would have been really cool, but they didn't do that. So, fuck me, I guess. The costume. The black costume. Originally, most versions, it's just pure black with the white logo. But I really like what they did with it by giving him the actual gray lines, and I actually think it's a better design than the actual comic version. And I used to have an action figure of that version, and I still have the piggy bank. You can't see it, but it's on the shelf over there, and that's pretty cool. And I think they kind of took versions of this version of the suit and with the gray webs, and they actually used it in the Spectacular Spider-Man cartoon. That's the big one over there in the box set that we're gonna watch together over this weekend at some point, hopefully. I don't see why not. We only have Tubi now. There's fucking nothing on there.
You do have a point about that.
I love you.
I want to go to bed. Do your thing.
What else? I have more of my notes, but okay, yeah, I have a lot of notes. I think the effects for the sand are really good. I mean, I guess compared to some of today's stuff, it's not great. It's not perfect, but I think for 2007, it's pretty good. I was only 2 years old in 2007, so I wasn't really conscious enough.
I was months old, Chad.
Yeah. Let's see. When's the release date here? Let's see. How exactly old were you? You were about 4 months old.
Mm-hmm.
You were 4 months old when this movie came out in Canada here, and it had
it was in British Columbia.
Yeah, it had the nuts to be May 4th. That is Star Wars Day. Fuck you. Speaking of, apparently there's a new Star Wars movie coming out this year, but I don't want to go see it because it looks bad. The composer for the music in this one is different than the first two. The original composer, Danny Elfman, he does all the Tim Burton movies. So he's the composer of Nightmare Before Christmas.
I know who Tim Burton is.
No, Danny Elfman.
Okay.
He does all the music. So he wrote all the songs in Nightmare Before Christmas. He did the music for the first two, and he didn't come back for this one. So that's interesting. I think the soundtrack for this movie is still lost media because I don't think they've ever released a lot of the songs from it. Yeah. Do you remember the part where fucking Spider-Man's on the moving back of the bank truck, the armored truck, and he's fighting the sand dude and he punches him and he goes through his chest and he doesn't move? He's stuck. The way they did that was really funny. It was actually just a guy with one arm in the Spider-Man suit, and he just put his stump up to Sandman to make it look like it went through, but he just doesn't have an arm. I just imagine, like, this one-armed actor is, like, trying to look for work, and he's like, oh my god, Ma, Pa, I finally found a job in acting. What are you? I'm Spider-Man. Wait, you're Spider-Man? You only have one arm. Yeah, I'm Spider-Man for one part. What do you do? I stand there with my stump. I touch a guy's stomach with my stump. Apparently, do you remember the fucking part where they're in the when he beats the shit out of him and stuffs his face into a train?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a part where he tries to punch Spider-Man and he hits a wall and he breaks the wall, and he apparently, in real life, the fucking prop people didn't switch the wall out for a foam one during one of the takes. So he fucking broke his hand on the fucking wall. And he's like, you fucking assholes, you didn't fucking change it. I guess, apparently, when Harry turns into the knob gobbler, there's the goblin mask, there's the fucking stupid snowboard mask, and then in between them, there's like a white and orange goblin mask, and that's supposed to be Hobgoblin, or at least a reference to it. But, like, if you knew that there was another goblin you could have used, so much so that you put a reference to him in the movie, why not just put him in the movie? That was kind of dumb. And why did you go with this stupid snowboard design? And I think the fact that fucking Peter Parker, Spider-Man just gets so sick of dealing with this guy's shit that he just fucking beats him until he has amnesia is pretty funny. It's funny, but I think it's stupid at the same time. I feel like it really made the movie longer than it should have been. And because this movie's like 2.5 hours and the other two are like 2 hours. So this is the longest out of the three, and it's like a good 45 minutes of that is spent on his best friend having amnesia, and he goes to his house and they play basketball and they're like, oh, we're fine, everything's cool, but you're not cool. You didn't once think why didn't you think to yourself oh my god, what if he gets his memories back? There's fucking nukes in his basement. I should probably take those and turn them into the police or something. No. You're a fucking idiot. And then he gets surprised when his friend just tries to stab him. Are you stupid? And also, when they're in the diner, and I've never seen anyone mention this in any video for some reason, but when they're in this diner and fucking Harry tells Peter that his new name is now Spider Cuck, and he tells him he's a cuck, he's been cucked. His eye looks really fucking weird. It's like I don't know what the fuck is up with Harry's eye. And then the fucking stupid turnaround and the wink and the hey, and then he fucking hides under the table. I'm just sitting there he didn't finish his pie. Did he take the pie to go? Did he really quickly be I'll take this to go? Army crawl across the diner? What did he do? Who is this man? No, not funny.
I don't know. Nobody can see you.
You can see me. And you're...
Dies.
Yeah, just dies immediately. What else?
I don't really have many thoughts on the movie.
I just don't think you have thoughts at all, to be honest. You are...
No thoughts at it.
Yeah. I've literally been sending you memes that are like, guys, my girlfriend almost formed a thought. Just dangerous. It's dangerous.
No, I peed myself.
You did?
No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking.
Ah, freaky. Yeah. Who needs toilet paper when you have me?
You're not funny.
What else? Oh yeah. So Harry's plan.
Hello?
It's 01. Harry's plan is that he wants to do what exactly? He wants to get revenge on Spider-Man, so he fucks Spider-Man's girlfriend. Great. What else? He makes Spider-Man's girlfriend dump him, even though she didn't really have to do that. She's like, if you don't break up with him, I'll kill you, and I'll kill him. And why didn't she just be like, didn't he kill your dad? Didn't he stab him in the balls? Didn't he stab him in the balls and give you amnesia from punching you so hard? And didn't he fight the Octopus Man? I think he can take you. Like, I feel like... And then when they're even if she was scared for her life there and was like, okay, I'll do it. Sure, okay. I could see someone being scared enough to accept something like that. But then when you're on the bridge with Peter and the guy's all the way over on the other side of Central Park, why didn't she just be like, listen, I don't think he has Superman hearing. He wants me to break up with you. I'm not actually breaking up with you, but like, just pretend. Just be a little sad for a bit. Just cry. Yeah, you're doing it right now. You're crying. You cry all the time. Just keep crying. Just keep doing that. And then I'm going to go to this coffee shop. He's going to be at my house later because he's trying to bone. So just like come in and just annihilate him in the ass with this dragon dildo that I am giving you now. It's a Spider-Man dildo. So originally Venom was not going to be in the movie because the director of this movie, who did all three of these movies and the newest Doctor Strange movie he did, and the Evil Dead movies, a couple others, he didn't really like Venom as a villain, which I don't understand because Venom's pretty cool, but he didn't like Venom. He just didn't really vibe with the character. He preferred villains that had a story behind them that you could like relate to, which is weird because he did the Green Goblin in the first movie, who was just like a completely evil person, and then did Dr. Octopus in the second movie, who was like semi-tragic but not really, just a science experiment gone wrong. But Sandman, he wanted to make this one kind of about, I don't know, but he didn't really like Venom, I guess. But I guess and Venom wasn't a very old character at this time. Venom's been around since the 80s now, but at the time, it was only 07, so he'd only been around for like a little under 20 years at that point. And yeah, the director had been more of a reader of like the 70s and 60s Spider-Man comics. Which you can tell because all three of these movies definitely feel like those original 60s comics in terms of how awkward the dialogue is and the way that a lot of the characters don't really have a lot of their kind of, I don't know, these movies are simpler, I feel, than a lot of the new ones, right? Like the Tom Holland ones all have like another superhero in them and all this, multiverse or whatever. And the Amazing Spider-Man, like the Andrew Garfield ones, all have like that weird mystery with his parents and all that. Like, and this one just definitely feels a lot simpler. It's pretty cut and dry, right? He's just a dude and he fights people, and he's Spider-Man, and that's really all you need to know. They're pretty simple. And so it is kind of weird because, like I said, though, every single villain in these movies was some kind of science experiment gone wrong, except for Venom, who came from space and is kind of the odd one out. And you can kind of tell he really wasn't supposed to be there. I think what they should have done is, instead of having him be from space, they should have made Venom be created in a lab, because there is a version of Venom that was actually in the comics at the time that this movie came out. It was the newest version of Venom that was a cure for cancer that went wrong. I don't really know how you go from a cure for cancer to brain-eating symbiote, but I guess it goes... I don't know. But that version is the Harry version, too, so it would have made sense, right? Maybe Harry was trying to complete the Goblin, like make a new version of the Green Goblin, and then turn himself into Venom, or turn himself into like a mix of the Goblin and Venom. I don't know, something that's just not this. Anything but this. This version of Gwen is not as interesting as the one that's played by the same chick that plays Cruella in the movie Cruella, the hit smash movie Cruella. But I still think she's better than MJ. For the 10 minutes of screen time she gets over the whole trilogy, I think this Gwen is good, and I think MJ is a skank. A dirty hoe, even. Some would call her Michaela.
I hear you.
And then there's a couple villains that they were thinking of using, like Lizard, Vulture, and Electro. It is interesting because they have the Lizard before he's the Lizard as Dr. Connors in both the second... Actually, he's mentioned in the first movie. And he shows up in the second movie and this movie. And apparently he was supposed to be the Lizard in this movie, and then they were like, no, let's do that in the next one. And then they started writing the fourth one, and then they were like, actually, let's put the Lizard in the fifth one. And then they never made the fifth one. Same with Vulture, it's the same thing. Eventually they took what was supposed... They took a lot of the idea for the fifth one and put it into the first Andrew movie, and then they used that villain there. Vulture was also going to be in this movie, but then they decided to scrap him for the fourth movie, and then they got really, really far into making the fourth movie, and it got canceled, and then eventually Vulture ended up in the first Tom Holland one, which I think it all worked out for the best anyway, because I actually really like that version of Vulture. And then Electro was going to be in this one, and then they didn't do that, and then they were going to do him in the fourth, and then didn't do that, so then they were going to have Electro and Lizard in the fifth one, and then that didn't happen. But they did Electro in the second Andrew Garfield one. It sucked, and then he came back in No Way Home. Now, the best part of this movie, by far, just absolutely, has to be emo Peter Parker with the fucking... gotta push my hair into my face. Oh, I'm so emo. Cut my life into pieces. Anyway. No, I think it's fucking hilarious, and it's one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen. But I do see why people who wanted a serious, comic accurate story for Venom got upset about it, because it's not as the trailers all made this movie look like it was gonna be dark and edgy, like fucking 2003 Daredevil, and then it was fucking Drop Your Funky Soul starts dancing. I don't get why when he's walking around doing that fucking goofy fucking dance, why some women look at him and are like, damn, fuck, stick your spider cum in me, and then some look at him and are like, ew. I think that a lot of Spider-Man's problems would be avoided if he ditched MJ, ditched Gwen, ditched all those skanky hoes, and just fucked his landlord's daughter. She's really, really ugly, but she's nice, and it would get him free rent. So, 2 pros, 1 con. Spider-Man beats his wife in this movie. One of the most famous things. Based. That is the most relatable, based thing Spider-Man's done. The French guy when Spider-Man's trying, or Peter wants to propose, was going to be in the fourth movie as Mysterio, and then that didn't happen, and then they put Mysterio in the second Tom Holland movie. Another thing, though, that's really weird is when the butler goes to Harry and he's like, Harry, your dad, he got stabbed in the balls by his own knight, his own thing. It wasn't Spider-Man that stabbed him in the balls, but, like, it could have been Spider-Man that stabbed him in the balls. Like, how do you know Spider-Man didn't just pick up the thing and stab him in the balls with it? It's literally Tom Holland Spider-Man tries to pick up the the glider and stab the goblin in the balls in the third Tom Holland movie. So what's stopping this Spider-Man from stabbing him in the balls? Apparently the butler was supposed to be in Harry's imagination, and it was going to be like the angel on his shoulder, and then his dad was the devil. But they realized that would just be really dumb, because there's scenes where Peter interacts with the butler, and they realize too late that they already filmed things showing him being real. Mary Jane was not going to be kidnapped in this one originally. It was going to be Gwen, and then the chick who plays Mary Jane got, like, pissy. She's like, what do you mean I'm not being kidnapped in this one? This is bullshit. She also got mad that she got paid more or less than Spider-Man in his own movie, which is dumb. Another weird thing is that I understand Gobble and Doc Ock coming back in No Way Home because they died, but in that movie, Doctor Strange says that the spell brought back people who knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man and were about to die. But Sandman doesn't die, but he comes back in that movie, so that's a big plot hole. Yeah. I'm gonna end